What is life like in New York City right now during this crisis? What are the streets like? Are people panicking? Do I have friends with symptoms? I'm going to be answering all of these questions coming up. If you don't know who I am, I'm John, and I usually make videos about travel and New York City. Never in a million years did I expect to be making a video quite like this one. I'd like to start by saying that Adriana and I are perfectly safe in our apartment in Greenwich Village, and that many of you are probably in the same position as us here in New York, and we are trying to spend as much time as possible at home, and obviously I recommend that you do the same. And I realize that what I do on this channel is not saving the planet or anything that important, but if I can continue to inform you on things, if I can keep you entertained while you're at home, then I really do feel like I'm doing my part. How are people reacting in New York? This is the most common question that I have received. And I will say that most New Yorkers, like most Americans, are probably reacting the same way. They're anxious. This is not something that the majority of us have ever experienced in our lifetimes. Adriana and I are only leaving the apartment to make essential trips like shopping or going to the pharmacy. And most people I've seen so far are following those guidelines. Then again, I still think there's too many people out and about in New York just having fun. I even saw an article from 2 days ago that there were characters in Times Square trying to hug tourists. Still, I am truly at a loss for words about that. What are the streets of New York like right now? I'll be honest, I think they're a little bit busier than they should be. Not that they're anywhere near normal. Now, Adriana and I are just witnessing this when we're heading to the pharmacy or the supermarket. I really want to reiterate that we are trying to stay home as much as possible, and obviously encouraging all of you out there to stay home as much as you can. Now, my friend Cash Jordan, another YouTuber, got some footage on his way back from work in the East Village. He stopped, he took a couple of clips, and I want to review it with you guys so you can sort of get an idea what it's like to be walking around the city right now. I'm not suggesting anyone take the subway right now in the city unless you absolutely have to, but you can see it's pretty empty, and the few people that are actually on board are doing their best to keep a safe distance. The city doesn't look post-apocalyptic. There's still cabs running. There's still a small scattering of people walking around. I would describe it as New York City during the early morning hours of a holiday, all day, every day. I actually recall one time in 2016, my twin brother and I went outside during a huge blizzard when the mayor shut down the streets to all traffic, and that by far was the spookiest thing I've ever seen in New York, because my twin and I were running up and down Houston Street while it was snowing. There was no traffic, there was like 1 or 2 other people out, and we truly felt like we had the city to ourselves. I do not think that New York feels anywhere near that right now. It is eerie though, seeing so many restaurants closed, or they may be open just with a delivery guy ready to bring food to people. And I'm just gonna play a couple of more clips so you kind of have an idea of what the streets are like. I have not seen excessive panic in New York. In fact, I went to CVS just a few nights ago and I took this picture of toilet paper in stock. I also feel like the biggest panic was this past weekend, maybe even Monday or Tuesday. We made a quick run to Trader Joe's today and I took a couple of video shots. The supermarket was practically empty. People were keeping a good distance from each other, and almost all of the supplies that we normally would shop for were completely in stock, which leads me to believe that most of the panic shopping was done and that a lot of people have stocked up on essential supplies, and that the supermarkets can kind of take a deep breath, at least for now. No, I don't know how the supermarkets look where you're watching this video from. Do tell me down below in the comments because I am curious. What's the lockdown like in New York City? This is another question that I have been receiving quite a bit. There are a lot of things that are closed. I'm gonna begin with the restrictions we have right now, or the kinds of places that we can't go to anymore. We can't go to restaurants. Now, restaurants are allowed to do takeout or delivery only, but still many restaurants have shut down already. Bars are closed, although if a bar serves food, they actually just changed the law where bars can now deliver or give alcohol as a takeout option, which is something that I don't think has been seen in New York City for a really long time. Also, theaters are closed, gyms are closed, any place where you would expect people to gather, like concert venues, are closed, museums are closed, Broadway is closed. In general, it is not a good time to be a tourist visiting New York. We are going to get to that though in a little bit. As of March 19th, there is no shelter-in-place order in effect in New York City yet, which means that many small businesses are still open, assuming they're not restaurants or bars. So for example, I was walking down the street the other day, going to CVS, and I saw that the chocolate shop on Bleecker Street was still open. Now, I feel for a lot of these small businesses because I imagine that it is going to be extremely slow and they're going to have to make some difficult decisions if they're going to be staying open for as long as it takes for this crisis to get under control. Do I know people with symptoms? I already had one Facebook friend admit that he has it and he's doing fine. I have two friends who've had symptoms in the last week or two. They are also self-isolating. I have a friend in California who's isolated himself for the last week away from his family with symptoms. So yes, I know people that potentially have it, one that definitely has it, and the others just haven't been tested because, well, it's actually pretty difficult right now in New York City to get that test unless you check off a certain criteria. That could, and I really hope that it will change soon, but obviously, I'm afraid that more people I know are gonna come down with it. And obviously for all of you out there, I'm sure you share similar anxieties and fears just like I do. But I think it's something that we all have to get through together. When can you visit New York City again? Even a week ago, I was getting flooded with messages of people asking me, should I postpone my trip? Should I postpone my trip? And I think that the government has actually made that decision for most of them, as non-residents of the United States can't enter from just about all of Europe right now and the United Kingdom. And I think as things have changed, more and more people have been afraid of coming here. And even if you did come to New York right now, which I am not recommending at all, what would you do? Restaurants are closed, Broadway is closed, museums are closed, people are trying to keep a safe distance from each other when they absolutely have to go out. This city is gonna need you more than ever. Tourism is gonna need you more than ever when we get through this. But at the moment, I do not think this is the time to be even considering traveling to New York City. There are many things you could do to support New York at the moment. If you're still planning a trip here, I'm sure the tourism businesses, hotels will thank you for it. But as I said, do hold off on all plans, at least for the moment. If you need ideas for when you come to the city, I have about 100 or more videos about ideas or things to do on that trip to the Big Apple. So do feel free to binge watch my channel. I think that would be great. It'd give you a way to just escape a lot of the negative news out there. Also, support your favorite New York City restaurants by buying gift certificates for the future. Koniko Cat Cafe was trying to ask people if they want to purchase certificates for future visits to see their cats in the East Village. You could do that on their website. I'm gonna put that below. Also, a fellow creator and friend of mine, Sarah Funk, she is offering a 20% discount on future vouchers to take tours with her and her company. They do a phenomenal job. She's got a great YouTube channel as well. Gonna put information about that in the description. What has the adjustment been like for me? I think the hardest part for me actually was the beginning of the crisis, when every day it seemed like there was new restrictions coming up and you just wondered when would it finally end. And on Tuesday night, they closed bars and restaurants to everybody. It is now Thursday, so we've had about 48 hours without any new restrictions in New York, and I think people are starting to adjust to what's going on. I don't want to say people are getting used to this, but I think that the adjustments are beginning to be made, and maybe people's minds want to get off this topic. And I do promise you as a creator that I'm not going to be harping on what New York City is like during this event in history every single video. I'm going to do my best to try to distract you. I've got a lot of fun ideas coming up. So guys, leave your suggestions down below in the comments if there's any specific type of video that you want to see right now while I am home as much as possible. And I hope everybody out there stays safe, stays healthy, and just stays home as much as you can. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope this update helped.